Hey guys, how's it going? It is Illuminostic. It's our second attempt at this stream. Yesterday it was storming really badly. I apologize if it's a bit dim. My light is flashing. That's why the lights aren't on. But at any rate, I want to talk about some wonderful medicines from the Amazon rainforest, controversy, and I also want to address some bad advice that I've seen online. Actually, quite a bit of it in regards to Rapé, and I think it's profit motive. Um, and it's fine, I think, to receive money for products or services. I certainly, for the thousands of hours of research that I've done and experience that I've put in, and I expect to be compensated for my work. That's not the issue. The issue is that there are people that are putting safety and honesty behind profit, and that's not okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So first, let's talk about Kambo. Kambo is the secretion of a giant tree frog. I'm sure most of you guys know that. It's extracted from the frog by tying its limbs to sticks, usually, or it's sometimes, back in the day, it was put next to a fire, which is kind of cruel. So nowadays, most people have been informed that it's humane to just tap them on the head. But then the secretion is collected and dried, and then holes are burned in the skin, and the secretion is pasted into those holes. This is followed by rapid onset of symptoms, really, or effects, I guess. Swelling of the face, frog face, it's called. And you do look like a frog, kind of. And it's not just that it feels like your face is swelling, it's vasoconstriction. So some of it is feeling, but it looks like frog face. Your lips are kind of swelled, and eyeballs bulging out of your head, and you're vomiting, and you're on all fours. So you look kind of like a frog. It's actually pretty trippy when you think about it. And so this vomiting lasts usually for about 10 minutes, 20 minutes. In unfortunate and rare cases, it can last up to a few hours, which doesn't necessarily mean that the person is in trouble. It could, and they have to stay hydrated and follow a protocol to avoid hospitalization. And I have personally heard of this happening. So I want to make it clear, too, that Kambo is in no way absolutely safe. But deaths are so rare that it's comparable to driving to work. So not super dangerous, not completely safe, just like pretty much anything else. And so a lot of people say that there's no research to support the fact that Kambo is beneficial. And that is absolutely not true. The research started in 1982 or 1988, I can't recall exactly. And there was a pretty big gap, and it has started again. And so it is a bioavailable cocktail of peptides and even opiates and all sorts of different compounds that do have medical efficacy for a whole, spectrum of problems, from chronic pain, depression, to alcoholism and addiction, immune system disorders, probably the most supported by antidotes and also research. And the idea there basically is just that you're shocking the immune system into almost like a reset. And so, yeah, one of the most powerful opiates known to man, it's stronger than fentanyl, is in the toad. There are all sorts of things in and so originally the toad was only taken for hunting. And so one of the criticisms is that it has no shamanic history behind it, which I say, who cares anyways? But for the sake of argument, what constitutes shamanic tradition? As soon as a shaman starts using a toad to heal something, that's shamanic tradition, isn't it? So, I mean, it wasn't white people that started doing this. You know what I mean? It is relatively recent that it was used for something other than increasing visual acuity for hunting. That's all it was for originally. And I guess the critics are saying, indigenous people may have some tremendous wisdom about nature and all of this stuff, but they are human, and we have killed all the fish in their rivers, and so they have to buy fish now. And so they one day were thinking, okay, well, people are paying to do ayahuasca. What else can we charge them for? And someone went, hey, let's convince them to burn holes in themselves and give them this frog venom and tell them it heals stuff. And so that's the presumption of the critics of Kambo, basically. And it totally could be true. But the body of research does not support that hypothesis. It supports that it actually is useful. But then the timeline is at least 50 years. So, I would say that there is at this point a shamanic tradition behind Kambo, because, what constitutes shamanic tradition in terms of time? 10 minutes, 20 years, 30 years, 2 years, 50 years, 100 years? It certainly hasn't been thousands of years like ayahuasca, but it's probably been at least 50 that it has been used. Well, it's definitely been 50. We know that for certain, but we don't know, beyond that. When the adaptation to actually using it to treat different things occurred. So that is one of the criticisms. My personal experience is that it did absolutely nothing for me. Nothing that I could tell. I have immune issues, and I did 3 Kambo ceremonies, and I noticed absolutely no difference afterwards. I didn't feel any better. I didn't feel any worse. I didn't feel any more energized. I didn't feel any more clear. I didn't feel any different at all whatsoever. But that is not the norm. The standard is that people report some improvement after Kambo. So I probably won't have it in time for our July retreats, which we still have space open for. But definitely by November. And, the reality is that most of these compounds that are found in the venom of the toad occur in very small quantities. And that's one of the other arguments, that yes, we have determined that there are all these bioavailable, bioactive compounds in this toad secretion, but not in any substantial amount, and some of them are dangerous, and so it would be much better to isolate them. What is the word? Not copyright, patent them, right? I mean, this is what they always say. So my opinion is that, it is more or less safe. It seems to help a lot of people with a lot of things. It's not going to hurt you to try it. And it seems like there's a pretty high likelihood that you'll experience some kind of benefit. It doesn't even matter if it's placebo. And like I said, with the combination of different peptides and other types of compounds in the venom, I doubt that it's entirely placebo. These things probably catalyze each other, so even though there are small quantities of each individual substance, they act in concert. And so not only that, but when different compounds and peptides get into your bloodstream and into your brain, there are interactions, things break down, they become other compounds. So there are, there's all sorts of metabolites and things that happen once you consumed it as well. So I don't think that modern science really has any clear picture of what that is, especially when we're talking about something like Kambo that has so many compounds in it. How's it going, Micah? I hope the audio is okay. My computer's been resetting my settings as usual, and yesterday one of the reasons I started over is that I realized that my voice was clipping, so I hope it sounds all right. Man, pretty upset that my ring light broke, and I was just in Tenet today, and we only go there once every so often. Pain. So, all right, so what's else on our list? Okay, so Kambo Rapé. This is an interesting development. This is from the Katukina tribe in Brazil. They're part of the Pano linguistic family. And they are rapé makers for sure. And for those of you that might not be familiar with rapé, just quickly, it's mapacho tobacco, which is made from jungle tobacco, nicotiana rustica, which is 12 to 16 times as high in nicotine as like commercial. No, Chris, this is a very recent. I bought this 2-3 months ago at most, maybe a month ago even. So Mapacho tobacco, which is very, very strong and also has harmala alkaloids that are similar to the ones that are found in ayahuasca vine or the bee copy vine. And it is used mostly to bring the mind into focus during ceremony. And, in North America and South America, it's used to make decisions. The peace pipe came out with the North American tribes when there was something important to discuss, or when peace needed to be engineered between tribes. You use tobacco. And so the idea basically is that combining tobacco with other plants allows the person that ingests the other plants to integrate the information that is communicated to them, their body, to their being, to their energetic body, much more concisely and efficiently. It's also usually combined with ash from some type of tree, most commonly sunu is the ash that is used. And I suspect, because of the psychoactivity of sunu rapes, that there's some sort of compound that is not psychoactive until the bark's burned. I don't have any proof of that. It's just my suspicion. But it is also a catalyst in the same way that when you burn snail shells and add them to yopo or wilca seeds, it activates them. It's the same concept. And so trees also are looked for that are high in calcium, like the ice cream bean tree or the guava tree. And so on a visit, one of my friends at Waking Herbs, a recent visit to Brazil, they go and meet directly with the tribes. They buy all this medicine directly from the tribes. So if you are an experienced practitioner and you buy Kambo from the affiliate links in my blog, it's being purchased directly from tribes. So there's that. But they went to visit, and the shaman said, I have something very special to show you. And he produced some Kambo Rapé. So there are small amounts of Kambo added to the Rapé. And in my opinion, this is possibly the best and safest way to use Kambo because it's the equivalent of microdosing. All of the compounds are going to be present, but in much lower amounts. And one of the benefits of Kambo is believed to be that your preternatural senses or intuition is greatly heightened. And so taking small amounts of it on a semi-regular basis is probably a good idea. The thing that I wanted to mention about Rapé that I'm seeing a lot, just as a word of warning, is that it actually should be used pretty sparingly, like any other tobacco product. And I saw Soul Quest in Florida. They had like you click on the little thing and it says stuff. Word for it is escaping me, but click on the thing and a little box pops down and tells you to do Rapé twice a day, all the time, because they're selling Rapé. And you shouldn't do Rapé twice a day, every day. You shouldn't. And it also advised people that they should take it whenever they feel anxiety or get upset. That is terrible advice. And it's horrifying to me that there are popular retreat centers with this kind of mentality. Because that is, abuse, drug abuse, basically. And it is also, it's they're giving people a crutch, making a crutch of, they might as well just tell people if you get upset, smoke a cigarette or something. It's just absolutely mind-blowingly fucking bad. So don't take advice from these people. Use Rapé when you really have before, an important ceremony or after a ceremony for integration or for meditation, maybe once a week, twice a week at most, once a month, but certainly not twice a day. So Soul Quest needs to get their shit together and stop trying so hard to sell people more Rapé than is healthy for them to consume. Fuck you, Soul Quest. Yeah, microdosing LSD, Chris, definitely does help people's emotional intelligence. There's no doubt about that. Okay, and then last but not least on our list is Sananga. These are, by the way, are the most popular sort of allies, not admixture plants, but allies, substances and compounds that are used in association with ayahuasca at ayahuasca ceremonies and to prepare for ayahuasca and post ayahuasca and during ayahuasca even. Don't do Kambo during ayahuasca, but oftentimes it's given before to cleanse the body and the energetic being, and also it's given sometimes after ayahuasca ceremonies. Um, okay, so Sananga. Uh, Sananga is made from the bark of Tabernet montana undulata. It's also known as pinwheel jasmine or bejete, and other weird names, lots of them. Uchu. Actually, Sananga is just Quechua for teacher. So it's not actually Sananga. Chiric Sananga is a plant that I use a lot here with ayahuasca and in my teas, but it is not the Sananga that you make the eye drops from. Chiric means itchy in Quechua, and Sananga means teacher. So the pinwheel jasmine, basically, that we make the Sananga eye drops from is actually Uchu. The name of the plant is Uchu. So it's Uchu Sananga. It's not just Sananga. Sananga, there's all kinds of different Sananga. But because this one became popular, it's just sort of got, it stole the name of teacher from all the other plants that are called Sananga. But there's a bunch of them. So at any rate, Uchu Sananga, when people say Sananga, they're generally talking about a water-based extract from the roots of Tabernet undulata, sometimes divercata, which is much more mild. And these drops are then put in the eyes of people at the peak of ayahuasca ceremony, typically. And that's because the person is better able to receive the effects. There are very small amounts of ibogaine, interestingly, in this plant. And that probably contributes to the psychedelic effect of it. But honestly, there's no way to explain what Sananga does, because as soon as it hits your eyeballs, the effect happens immediately. And there's no explanation for that. There's no time for it to soak into the membranes. It's just instant. And generally what happens is that the visions of the ayahuasca become much more clear and realistic, less cartoony. They come into sharp focus. In my case, the first time I took it, I was suddenly confronted with this, miles and miles and miles long sort of cliff face made of these deity faces or entity faces with flames bellowing out of the eye holes. Didn't occur to me till much later that I had just put this fiery burning stuff in my eyes, and I was having this vision of these walls with flames coming out of, living walls with flames coming out of their eyes. But it was a tremendous experience for myself and the client who was with me at the time. It was interesting how we discovered the plant. I did not buy it. My partner said, it'd be really cool if we could find some Sananga. And I walked out in the backyard 2 days later and looked to my left, and I realized that was a Sananga plant. It was a Uchu Sananga there beside me. So we had one in the backyard. So we went out and collected the roots and concentrated the mixture, and it's been incorporated into our ceremonial practice ever since. And it has this ability to clear what is called in Quechua panema, which is sort of like negativity or bad luck or lack of motivation. And it actually felt like being cleansed internally, very gently, very beautifully. But it was like all this crap that was in my being just sort of got washed away. And the visions were, 10x or something in terms of how realistic they were. And my client at the time that was with me that night said the exact same thing. Interestingly, and I see this with Rapé a lot as well, Kambo not so much. Kambo remains consistent for people generally. If you vomit for 20 minutes with 4 dots, you will always vomit for 20 minutes with 4 dots. But Sananga seems to work best the first time you use it. And also Rapé, like people generally tend to purge the first time they do strong Rapé, but then not anymore. And I think it's because it pushes something through that is actually gone, and then it's not there to plague the person anymore. And so, after the first time, the Rapé doesn't have this dramatic reaction in the body. The same is true of Sananga. When we took the same Sananga a few nights later, the response for both of us was much more mild. And that's, I think, because we had not built up more of this panema, and so there wasn't much for the medicine to do. And still to this day, it's much less of an effect than it was the first time. That doesn't mean that there's no benefit in taking it on a regular basis. because it has been shown to help with macular degeneration and other eye problems. And one of the things that I have noticed, and that a few of my clients have stated as well, is that as soon as you take it, when you're able to open your eyes again after the burning stops, you have much better night vision, clarity and focus greatly enhanced. So it does seem to actually immediately enhance your vision. And my partner's anecdotal report is that it indeed has helped her vision, and she has very bad vision. So you have to be careful with that. There is no agreed upon protocol. You do not want to take Sananga every day for months on end in your eyes. Eventually it will eat holes in them. But once a day for 7 days is fine, and then a 7-day break, and then you can continue this indefinitely. And all reports basically suggest that you will experience at least a decrease in degeneration, but an improvement in your eyesight, generally speaking. So thank you guys so much for joining me for this light stream. I hope everyone learned something, got some information you can use. I can hear the rain coming down, so it's going to get increasingly difficult for me to concentrate. So please do hit the like button, subscribe, join us on Patreon. We are demonetized, so the algorithm does not suggest my videos as much as it should. And I get no money from YouTube, so we appreciate your support. There are options to do so in the description, or you can go to my blog and check out tons of information on all of the plants that I use. A lot of the plants that I use, like literally the same genetic material from right here in Archidona, is available through Waking Herbs, through my affiliate links. So that's another way you can support me while actually getting something from me. So it's great, and I appreciate every single one of you. I hope to see you all here in July and November, and I'm going to go now and eat some dinner. All right.